What makes this song great?
This is the glasses.
True. I'm Adam Manis.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear It podcast.
Jazz Splained.
Splained, brought to you by Open Studio. Go to Open Studio Jazz to go on a deeper dive. Peter, today we're talking about our good friend, Mr. Levens, Mr. Bill Levens. No, Bill Evans, of course, the great Bill Evans.
I felt like I was levitating on that beautiful intro.
It's a gorgeous tune. Of course, this is Waltz for Debby. So we started an Open Studio Pro over on the Repertoire Club, which we have Mondays and Wednesdays. We do the Repertoire Club. We're learning Waltz for Debby, Bill Evans' iconic composition. Famous. People say I've been using iconic too much in the comments. So famous.
People have been saying I've been using bespoke. I would say this is a bespoke, iconic.
Oh my God.
Let me check with my attorneys.
I think our next episode is going to be the most bespoke, iconic albums of all time. No, this is a classic tune. Obviously, it's I'm losing my adjectives for something as iconic. It's iconic. He's
How about
icon.
I start saying iconic and you start using bespoke? And you call up our attorneys.
It truly is a bespoke composition. Waltz for Debby, but it goes to 4? Are you kidding me?
I
know. We've been learning this over at the Repertoire Club, and we did a little bit of a listening session on this tune, just listening to a bunch of different versions, and I was struck how many versions came out pretty much right after Bill Evans released the first couple of versions. He recorded it with his own trio. He recorded it with Cannonball Adderley.
That's a great one.
It's a really great version. And we have...
great. I mean,
it's all good. It's such a great tune, and I thought, like, well, what makes this so great? What makes this song, and what makes a standard a standard? How does it catch on? We've had some recent standards. I'm thinking about, Strasbourg Saint Denis, the Roy Hargrove tune, which is you can hear pretty much at any jam session across the country here, maybe across the world, I'm sure. But how does that happen, and why does that happen, and what is it about Waltz for Debby that made that happen?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's
No, I think the first you kind of already hit on it. The first one, like, it works great trio. Quintet.
That's right.
Singing it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how flexible is it? Like, you can kind of see that out the gate. That's sort of a prerequisite, I would say, for a standard.
I would agree with that. Yeah, that it's playable and that it's very flexible and can be used in multiple different ways. So this is from a show in London, a TV show in London in 1965. This is Chuck Israels on the bass.
Is this the Benny Hill Show by any chance? That's another TV show that came out of London.
No, it's not.
Okay.
But this is Chuck Israels on the bass, Larry Bunker on the drums, 1965. Let's just watch a little bit of this version of Waltz for Debby, and then I want to listen to one more.
I love that trio. Let's talk about that trio setup. Visually and
great. Stunning.
The way it sounds, the way you can communicate. I love that setup.
I like a drum on a riser, I'll be honest.
That's right.
Yeah, it looks good.
That's great composition right there.
It is.
Good hand position right there, Mr. Evans. Simple.
Beautiful technique.
Hinting at the groove a little bit, right?
Yeah, so famously, Waltz for Debby starts as a waltz in 3/4, but it will quickly go into a 4/4 straight ahead thing. The triads.
Yep.
Drop 2 and then not drop 2. A little bit of distortion on the recording, but that's okay. It sounds just beautiful. It looks beautiful. Just look how he kind of smashes those clusters together.
Woo!
Yeah.
And it's kind of sloppy how they go into the groove.
That's a little bit
in a beautiful
off,
way, though.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's a gorgeous little groove they've got going here.
It's such a dramatic thing from going out of time. It's out of time, but it's a waltz, but they're going to a swinging waltz.
Well, and this is the style of trio, of course. Like, you'll notice Chuck Israels, he's gonna do his own thing quite a lot, more than sort of your average trio. He's gonna go up into thumb position a lot. He's gonna comment rhythmically a lot more.
last episode we talked about confidence within the groove. Bill Evans is a great example of that.
It's a great solo.
Okay, what makes this a standard?
Okay, so first of all, it's great. Check out. We'll put a link. Caleb, please put a link to this YouTube video in the show notes. So I think the melody, of course, is what draws people in. The song has a bit of melancholy with the changes. We're in F, right? And we have just a very simple like 1-6-2-5, but kind of in the same vein as All the Things You Are.
Yeah.
Like
fourth movement harmonically, which gives it a kind of journey sort of feel.
That's
story.
Right. So we start off really as an A minor 7, like on a 3 chord, but this turns into an F major. It's a mediant of the tonic. But notice here the melody. If we consider this A minor 7, the melody is a C. The D minor melody is an F. The G minor 7 melody is a B5. So the third is just like All the Things You Are. So I think there is something to that. And also, it's one bar each, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Right, and it's on the one.
On the one. And there's something to this as well. So... And then this little thing here is so gorgeous. Yeah, the coming up. And then there's a couple of tonal center shifts. It shifts to A, it shifts to E, it shifts all over the place in a couple of different spots. But I really think it has mostly to do with the melody. I want to listen to a version here. I want to listen actually to a couple of different singers. Yep. So
I think too, just as you're pulling that up, like this combination of simplicity, starting on the one, it being a waltz, the melody and the harmony moving very simply and kind of in lockstep together. But from the very beginning, like you're going on a journey. So it's like this simplicity, but it's also a story that's being set up at the beginning, and then of course it's developed more. That's usually the hallmark of a great jazz standard.
That's right. So let's listen to a couple of different vocal versions. The lyrics here are by Gene Lees, who also wrote the English version of Corcovado, Quiet Nights for Quiet Stars, wrote the lyrics for that.
Quiet Nights of Quiet Stars.
So the first version we're going to listen to is there it is, a little spoiler, is maybe the most famous vocal version. And honestly, I don't think this works as well. I think this is a little too melancholy. The melody and the chord changes are already kind of melancholy.
Yep.
And I feel like Tony Bennett here on the Tony Bill Evans album, which is an amazing album.
Yep.
I feel like this, in my opinion, it goes a little too far into the sort of syrupiness of what could happen. And the lyrics are sentimental, we'll say.
Nostalgic, maybe.
Nostalgic. Debby was Bill Evans' niece, Debbie Evans. The lyrics are all about a child growing up and leaving home and feeling sentimental about that.
Maybe it defines the story a little more than we want, as the melody just leaves more to our imagination.
I think so.
It's very specific.
Well, I think with the way that they're playing it here, it does.
It's a verse.
In the sun,
it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong.
She dances to silent music.
But when you listen to this version from Johnny Hartman, I think Hank Jones on piano here. I think this actually is the best lyrical version I've heard of this song. This is earlier. This is 62, I think. And because they do it a little just more straightforward.
Yeah.
Sweet world,
taking a lot of the sentimentality out of it.
Populated by dolls and clowns.
Same lyrics.
And
Same
a
lyrics,
prince and a big purple bear.
But because they're not sort of like dragging out the emotion of it, like Bill and Tony kind of were, like spending more time getting that. This is
and
sort
having
of
a full trio helps with that, maybe.
There's a little bit more of a groove here. To me, this is like my second favorite version outside of Bill's original version.
This is your jam.
My jam.
Grown-ups all wear.
going to an unusual major temporary tonic center there.
She dances to
It's a story, even without the lyrics. This tune is a story. I think that's what makes it work.
Somewhere in her own little head.
All of those little tonal center shifts too, I think makes it. It's one of the reasons why it became a standard. So,
And like a jazz, like we should kind of just quickly define jazz, because this really is a jazz standard. This is not a Great American Songbook standard. The lyrics were added afterwards, I believe.
What's interesting is around the time Bill wrote this and released it, a lot of singers recorded a version. Sarah Vaughan recorded a version. Tony Bennett obviously recorded a couple of different versions. He recorded an earlier version than the one he did with Bill Evans. Johnny Hartman did. I believe Ella did as well. Everybody kind of recorded their version of Waltz for Debby. But it's maintained its standard, his jazz standard, as you were saying. Status, I think, because of those tonal center shifts. It's super fun to play over.
Well, yeah, exactly. So fun to play over, fun to listen to, and fun to play with. That's any kind of standard. You have to have those elements. It's got to be fun for everybody. Like there's certain tunes that are like even maybe become jam session tunes because they're fun for players to play, but they're not necessarily standards to the listeners. And so to me, they don't become full standards.
It's the same reason why
everybody loves
has
that.
become Strasbourg Saint-Denis has become such a hit to play at jam sessions because it's so much fun to play.
Yeah. And I think that the reason I was saying this is more of a, I mean, it's maybe not a necessary thing to make the distinction, but maybe it is, between a Great American Songbook standard and a jazz standard. Like this to me is a jazz standard. First of all, some of those harmonic little journeys and things that like those aren't substitutions. Those were originally written into the tune.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like
it's written by a jazz pianist.
It's written by a jazz pianist. And I mean, you could kind of say the same of that for like, I don't know, maybe some Gershwin song. I mean, like there was so much jazz influence there, but you didn't hear like most of the substitutions and alternate ways of playing those types of like truly American songbooks that were originally written with the lyric and the melody connected from the beginning. Whereas this was like an instrumental.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. But I think that
it was an instrumental originally.
Right.
Yeah.
So the lyric, and it doesn't make it any less potentially powerful as a vocal in terms of like adding that lyric in it. And it could be at the level of a great, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's different. This is more connected with like a Thelonious Monk composition or a Wayne Shorter composition or a Herbie Hancock composition. Like it's truly a jazz. So yes, there's still different ways to interpret it and to play it. But it's primarily it's starting from a jazz place. It's not like taking something and turning it into something bigger than maybe it was intended at the beginning.
Let's check out one more version, and we'll go out on this one. This is from 1961. So this is the same year that Bill Evans released it. Cannonball Adderley, Bill Evans in the band. Yeah. So this is Know What I Mean, Cannonball Adderley with Bill Evans.
OJC. Know What I Mean? That's a great cover. Bill Evans famously played this verse introduction the same.
It's worth, I think it's worth learning.
Which is great.
If you learn the tune, it's worth learning how he played it as closely as you can get, because he obviously was playing it rote.
Yeah. And with that phrasing.
It's beautiful. Beautiful touch.
Theatrical. It's kind of theatrical.
It is. I mean, tunes in 3.
Scene.
Tunes in 3 are cinematic.
Yeah.
You know?
But just a da-da-da. Da-da-da. Rolling.
We're all rolling.
Ooh. Instant swing. Instant groove. Ooh.
Yep. What?
Oh, is this Philly Joe?
I think it is.
I think that snare, that brushes sound like killing.
I think it's PC and Philly Joe.
Yeah.
Cannonball makes everything better.
Yeah.
You ever notice that?
Man, Bill Evans comping on here. Oh, I stand corrected. Percy Heath and Connie Kay, of course.
What?
Yes. This is a great trio. Man, I listen to this record a lot. I apologize for messing that one up. Goodbye. Oh, yeah, this is a killer record. Man, Bill Evans comping.
He's killing
This
it.
is like
Bill Evans, pretty great comper in general.
textbook on here. And I mean, that way of comping, Cannonball is hard to comp behind.
Well, but Bill has a style of comping. He waits for that one to happen.
Yeah.
And then kind of comments after the one.
Exactly. But there was nothing out of place. There was some unexpected stuff the way he was comping. Cannonball's hard to comp to the way like a great football, a quarterback is hard, unless you're great, it's hard to receive the ball. It's so perfect, but you got to be so athletic, you know. Like the way his spacing is so idiosyncratic.
It's a great solo, too. Cannonball, one of those players, he's never 10 seconds away from the melody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Or the blues. But having comp behind, not Cannonball, but like other great soloists like this that combine like very expected things with very idiosyncratic ways to phrase it back and forth. You got to be on your toes to comp behind it, you know. And then pulling it apart. Like that's a very like expected thing. But then kind of deconstructing it.
Philly Joe's on Interplay.
That's
on the Bill Evans
yeah,
album Interplay. Yeah, I don't know. You know, for me too, like,
well, let me throw one more thing in there.
I've always thought, and this might be controversial, but I think Bill is not as strong in scenarios where the rhythm section isn't sort of filling up a lot of space around him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like when he's left to like a tip-in rhythm section, it can't get more tip-in than this rhythm section either. I mean, they just sound so swinging. But to me, that's not I don't think he's able to be as comfortable somehow. I don't know. Like, I think he kind of feeds off of like the Scott LaFaro, Eddie Gomez energy.
Right.
Somehow.
Well, but did that become like a self-fulfilling
It might have
prophecy
been. It might have been.
The repertoire, the way they play kind of pushed towards that.
100% could be my own bias, and that like when I hear him, I think of that style and I want to hear just more of that, but I don't know.
Yeah, you're biased.
I am biased.
Till next time.
You'll hear it.